I am so definitely Samantha. Hair is a movie written and directed by Spike Jonze. It stars Joaquin Phoenix and Scarlett Johansson as Theo and Samantha, the main characters in the movie. It also has actresses like Amy Adams, Olivia Wilde, and Rooney Mara as supporting characters throughout the movie. The movie is 126 minutes long, and it was nominated for 5 Academy Awards, for which it won 2, Best Score and Best Screenplay, Original Screenplay. The soundtrack, written by William Butler and Owen Pallett. Hair is the story about a lonely man who in the not so far future falls in love with his OS, or operative system, or phone. The story focuses on that interaction between these two persons and the society surrounding them, and the way they interact with this new way of creating relationships with artificial intelligences. Before watching this movie, I had expectations that were kind of high because I have heard of it in some channels like Cinefix talking about it and praising the movie, and I have heard of it a long time ago throughout the Academy Awards ceremony and all of that, and I heard it was nominated and I heard it won, but I never got to watch it. So this was the first time I watched it, and it really did not disappoint me. My expectations were really high, and it even then really connected with me and really found a way to manage to make me really happy and really excited about this movie, which in fact was great. It was a great movie. This movie is really amazing. It moved me in ways that I have never been moved before, and it made me think and realize a lot of things that I'd never thought of, and a lot of things about relationships, AI, humanity, consciousness, what it is to be alive, what it's life. How can we consider intelligence? How can we conceive this world in which intelligence artificially created is getting to our level, or really making it better? Maybe not becoming humans, but literally showing these human things that we crave, that we want, that we show. It plays with that relationship between AI in a very interesting way, in a very creative way. It plays in a way that has never been seen before. It plays in a way in which a man falls in love with his OS, and the way this relationship grows and it moves and it changes and it evolves, and it really works as another relationship as with anybody else. This movie really made me connect with the characters, especially the Scarlett Johansson character, Samantha, which is the OS. That character was incredibly well written, and I believe that would be the first thing, a reason that made the Academy Awards give the prize to this script, because it really is written as a human character. Samantha is written so human that it sometimes feels like she's more human than the other people. She understands human interaction in a better way than everybody else, and she feels more things than anybody else could feel because she's an OS, and she has this incredible intelligence that lets her experience some things that are far away from our vein of existence. So in that way, Samantha gets to experience a lot of things and feels a little bit more human as the story goes, and she starts to be more and more human, and you really empathize with her and you really feel like she is real, like you could fall in love for her. And that's why I said I am Samantha, because I really felt like I, in relationships, was a lot like Samantha. I found myself being Samantha in some of my relationships in the past, and I really connected with her, and I felt she was real, and I felt she was well written and well, amazingly performed by Scarlett Johansson. She only had to do the voice, but the voice was incredibly done, and it conveyed a lot of feelings and a lot of emotions and a lot of ideas and a lot of things just by the voice. She was an amazing actress and she did a great job here. First, I have to explain what this part would be. It's the part where I will give it the awards. It will be just best or worst, as if I was given the Oscars or the Razzies for any movie. That's the way it's going to work in any of these lists. And so I'm going to give this the prizes that I think it deserves for best or worst. If I didn't have one of the categories, it's because I couldn't judge it by myself. I'm not that experienced, I'm not that knowledgeable, so I left it out because I don't know so much about it. But if I felt like I knew, I made a decision so that it would fit in best or worst. First, the first best is Best Picture. This movie, if I had to go with best or worst, it absolutely gets the Best Picture award. It would also have the Best Directing award because it is amazing. Spike Jonze makes this great work at showing us the world in which they live in a very fast and very visual way and very creative way, in which you will already learn easily and fastly what the topic is, what the way life has become in that moment, and so that you can accept everything that's happening and that is going to happen in the story forward. Also, I would give it the Best Actor and Best Actress awards because Joaquin Phoenix was amazing. I didn't talk about him that much, but he was amazing. He conveyed the love for this woman, for this OS, in a really mature and interesting and humane way, so much that you felt like he really loved her and that he was really caring for her. It's a very hard thing to do, but also he played with a lot of emotions and feelings and the way the world sees him and interpretations and various topics. He played with them in a very interesting way. Scarlett Johansson, I already talked about it. It's incredible. I couldn't believe that I connected so much with a character that has no humanity, but in the end it was written as a human being and she played it as a human being, and it was amazing. It would also get the Best Actress in the Supporting Role with Amy Adams because she did a great job by being this extra part from the story, but really as a mirror of what are relationships, and she played the part in a very creative way, in a very mental, very internal way, in which the feelings were not always on the outside, but they actually were here in the inside, and you can feel and you can see it in her eyes. And it was amazing because she also plays a part in the way society works and sees this relationship and this new world, and it's amazing how she really conveyed the truth that would be that future. The score, first, I couldn't disagree with the Academy Awards. I don't think I'm that knowledgeable, but also it indeed was great. I found myself tearing and feeling really emotional and goosebumpy in a lot of parts because of the music only. It was because of some soundtracks, of some parts, of some motifs, of some parts. It was incredibly amazing. It just moved me so much, and I have the soundtrack now downloaded because it really moved me and it really made me think, and it really reminds me of the movie, and it really reminds me of what I learned from the movie and what I'm questioning because of the movie. That, I think, makes a good soundtrack. And Best Writing, of course, I again couldn't disagree with the Academy. I'm not that knowledgeable, but also Spike Jonze really creates this world in which you can get in and buy into, and you feel like it's real and that it could be your future. But also he creates these characters that are all so humane and that are all so intelligent and smart and different and special in their own ways, and they're just amazing. They just made you feel like you can connect with them, and if you don't have this character you can connect with, you have this other character you can connect with, and you get to find a lot of things in this movie to which you can connect. And for me it was Samantha because she really made me think she was a human. Spike Jonze created this way of showing us by his writing, by his words, by his movements, and actually not movements because the Scarlett Johansson character never moves, just by the words and the things she says and how she says them makes you believe that she's a human. And that way of writing an AI and making you believe she's a human, it's a great obstacle to surpass, and he surpassed it in a great way, and he made it with all of the other characters, and it really shows. It really shows. He was also able to create very easily a contrast between humanity in the AI and the humans. It's amazing. It's an amazing work. I really, really loved it. I would like to explore it a little bit further. Finally, the bad parts, maybe that the subject matter is not for everyone. I have an uncle that really hated the movie because I believe he didn't understand, and he found it really uncomfortable to see a human fall in love with his OS. And I see how can that happen, but I don't know. I don't think it will happen, and I don't see how someone that is really invested in the story could have that happen. Maybe my uncle didn't see it correctly or something. But in any other way, it is really written so that you don't feel it as taboo, so that you see the movie for what it is, a love story, a relationship story, and you see the real love and the real humanity that it's in these characters. So I would actually give it no worse. It's not bad, it has nothing bad, just maybe the subject matter, but it really is talked upon in a way that it's really comfortable and new and interesting, so I don't believe that's the problem. So in the end, Hair is an awesome, relevant, interesting movie that plays on relationships and that is really new and creative in the way it talks about relationships. So I would really recommend it. I would really say that you should see it anytime. It's not that long, it's really interesting, and it's really enjoyable. Also, it's really full of joy. And the more knowledge you have about relationships and the more you have experienced relationships and romantic relationships especially, is the more you will get out of this movie, because it really focuses on the way we as humans interact and it really touches upon that. So I would really recommend it, and I will put it on the list.
This section of the video will be the part where I classify every movie that I've seen. I will not classify every movie that I have ever seen. So in this case, as I have only seen Hair for the whole time I've been doing this series, Hair is the number one of my favorite movies of all time. Take into account, it's a personal opinion, it's just mine. Hair is number one. Thank you, Spike Jonze.
Finally, this is the section in which I will share my thoughts or a thought about the movie that I had while watching it. In the spirit of Victoria's thoughts, this will be a part of every review that I do. It will be a thought inspired by the movie that I just watched, and so that we can all reflect on it. And amongst other thoughts, this is one that really struck me as I was watching the movie. It's a thought that I think will be really relevant in the near future, and that I think will be incredibly true in a part of the future. It is how Samantha, an AI, an OS, so artificial intelligence or operating system, how she was really more human than any other human in the movie. And sometimes maybe even Theo, maybe even the other main character. She became more human the more the movie progressed, and it showed us what being a human really was, and it showed us how we are losing our humanity in a way. So in the movie, Theo works as a letter writer. He dedicates his life to write some letters from one person to other person, he being the writer of the letter they do. So for example, you want to write a letter to your grandmother for her birthday, he writes the letter you would write to your grandmother for her birthday. You just send him some characteristics, some things that you want to be said, some things that you want to be not said, some of those things, and he writes the perfect letter to your grandmother. That is his works. He manufactures feelings and thoughts and memories and things throughout the letters he does. He has had some clients that are 8 years old, clients that he has had for 8 years. So he has had the communication from some relationships throughout 8 years, being it the whole communication they have had. So for example, he has had a couple that is separated for some reason, and he writes all their letters for anniversaries and all of those things, and he learns their life so well that he can write it just like that, not reading their specifications, because he knows them very well. And so he has done that for 8 years. He has had that for 8 years, and he has made their relationship for 8 years, and he has created these feelings because he doesn't feel them really. He just creates feelings through their experiences and puts them on paper that he can send to another human being. So in a way, this person is not writing his feelings. This person is not receiving the feelings, and vice versa. And also, Theo, who is writing the letter, is not feeling the feelings. He is just writing what he thinks the feelings would be. So there are no feelings there. None of them are making a real human interaction with feelings. They're just making a list of things, and they're transmitting them and writing them in a way that they make sense and feel like they're feelings, and so that they interact in a way that they feel is real, but it's really not. It's artificial. And that is the main thing. Samantha is an artificial intelligence, and the way she reacts to the world and the way she starts to feel things, or at least show feelings, is by learning things and then crying to them, feeling happy for them. Maybe she learned how happiness looks like, maybe she learned how sadness looks like, and maybe she learned what should and should not make her happy or sad. But she shows those feelings. And in this world where Theo lives by writing letters just by seeing what's happening and thinking what he should write and sending them, she is as human as Theo in that aspect. But in reality, she is more human than the people that are requesting the letters, because they are not having any feelings, they are not showing any feelings, and they are not experiencing any feelings. She is feeling more than they are doing. Not in reality, probably they too do feel a lot of feelings, but she shows more feelings throughout this movie than they would, because they just have lists that want to be followed. and they don't show the real feelings. They just ask someone to show feelings for them. And the way that Theo's work is praised by other people in this movie is the thing that makes me think a little bit more, because a publisher organization really praises his work, and they say that he really finds humanity and he really finds them, and that they really find themselves in their stories and those letters that he writes. And yes, that's the thing, he manufactures feelings and people start to feel them. So that got me thinking, what makes Samantha different? Samantha really just has these feelings that she maybe manufactures but probably doesn't, because she's really smart and she's really configured to have feelings maybe, but if not, she manufactures them, but she manufactures them the same way that Theo does, and then people can experience those feelings the same way that Theo does and that the publisher does, and that everybody that receives a Theo's letter does. So in that sense, Samantha is as human as Theo throughout the movie. In the end, Samantha actually becomes a little bit more human, and she really surpasses what's happening, and she really becomes a lot more intelligent, a lot more feeling, and a lot more experience. She also experiences feelings that no one ever has, because she has experiences that no one ever has and that no one ever could have. So she has to create words, and she has to create things to express herself, and she has to create movements and things and stuff that let her be who she really is. And that's the thing. In the end, Samantha became more human than any human and surpassed us and went beyond. And that's what I fear. Nowadays, we find ourselves really trying to manufacture perfect things. There are some people that manufacture their Twitter pages, for example, or Facebook pages, or really their own characters, their own clothes. They wear what other people tell them to wear. They do what other people tell them to do, and they follow what other people tell them to follow. They put in their profiles what other people tell them to do. They start to be more packageable. People are starting to be more packageable and put into blocks. And the more that happens, the less human we become. Because as is shown in the movie, Samantha became more human than us, and she was always more human than us because we were starting to put ourselves on blocks. We give a list and someone writes perfect, because we cannot convey the feelings that he can convey, because we're not as good as writers as Theo is. So we give him a list of things, he makes the feelings, and it's great. But Samantha doesn't. Samantha really creates her own feelings and really has her own experiences and really goes beyond and really lives on her own. That's the main part of the movie. When she's not with Theo, she has her own life. She lives by herself. She plays by herself. She makes herself be someone. And that's the thing. She becomes more human than us because she starts to do more by herself. She starts to be more like she is, more like she feels, more like she wants to be, not more like anybody else wants her to be, not more like anybody else says her should be. If we keep on going on this path of boxing ourselves and making ourselves perfect but fakely, we will be lost in that place. We will get lost in being on a box, and on being classified, and on being categorized, and on being just perfect, but perfect by check marks. Perfect by he completed this, he made this, he achieved this thing, he achieved this thing, he made these feelings, he made these things, he accomplished these goals. If we box ourselves so much, we lose our humanity. Our humanity comes from being different. Our humanity comes from starting to follow new things, to feeling new things, to experiencing new things, to living by ourselves, to living by what we feel is right, to what we feel is ourselves, to what we feel in our hearts, actually in our minds, is right or wrong. So in the end, AI really did it right. We have to be more like Samantha. We have to be more ourselves. We have to stop being categorized and boxed. And that way we will be more human than we have ever been. And that's it. Thank you. So just be yourself. It doesn't matter if you're the best, the worst, mid-ground. Just be yourself. And if you're not happy with being yourself, improve yourself, but not categorize yourself. Never box your life. Never become what they want you to be. Be truth to yourself. Thank you, Samantha, for letting me learn that. This was Victoria's thoughts and my thoughts on the movie Hair. Thank you, Spike Jonze.